Hello everyone, I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. Thank you so much for your time. You're watching 284 Media. The BVI Chamber of Commerce empower, educate, and equip, and they're doing just that, making sure that in 2024 they're continuing the mantra of educating and empowering and making sure that businesses across the Virgin Islands are connected. Today I'm joined by Chairman of the BVI Chamber of Commerce, Mrs. Shaina Smith-Archer, to discuss a number of initiatives that are taking place. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
One Stop Auto, located in the R&R Malone Complex, Packwood Pond, is having a huge liquidation sale on all inventory, excluding vehicles and genuine Toyota and Lexus parts. Get no less than 50% off all items on shelves and inventory room. Items such as car covers, steering wheel covers, wipers, sealants, chemicals, emergency cones, adhesives, license plates frames, air filters, oil filters, front brakes, front rotors, rear rotors, radiators, shocks, and much more. A specific listing of all makes and models for which parts are available at liquidation prices will be posted on our Facebook page.
Start the year off with more. More speed, more downloading, more savings, and more Fire. CCT Fire Fiber Internet gives you the speed you need to keep the whole family connected. Packages starting at $119 with speeds from 300 megabytes per second, super fast, unlimited downloads, even more reliable connectivity, plus free live streaming TV for the family to enjoy. Sign up for the absolute best fiber internet service in the BVI CCT Fire and pay no installation fee. Plus, get CCT Live TV for free. You deserve more. Get more with CCT. Life Unlimited.
Welcome back everyone, and thank you so much for sticking with us. As promised, I'm joined by Chairman of the BVI Chamber of Commerce, Mrs. Shaina Smith-Archer. Mrs. Smith-Archer, thank you for your time and welcome back to our platform.
Thank you for having us again.
Now, as I mentioned, empower, educate, and equip. The Chamber is continuing the mantra, of course. In 2023, there was a huge rebranding. There was a huge separation of entities to make sure that the various industries are getting the much needed direction that they need. I want to pick up there. How has the rebranding of the Chamber served to its advantage?
Well, we've been definitely getting a lot of positive feedback. More information is going to come out about the BVI Yachting, Hotel and Tourism Associations. Persons still sometimes refer to us as CCHA, so we know it's going to take some time too for persons to get used to that. But just, for clarity, to let persons know, this was, CCHA sitting down and saying, how can we more effectively serve our business community? And, we consulted with the hospitality sector and said to them, hey guys, do you think it's time for a hotel association? And essentially they said yes, and they took up the mandate. So there is now currently an interim board in place, and they are working on putting down, some framework. The membership drive should start a bit, probably mid-year, so that, again, businesses in that industry can learn more about what the association will be working on, and learning how to become members. And persons have the option of becoming members of both, because I was sharing with someone the other day that we have persons that may be members of the Marine Association and still a member of the Chamber. So It's completely up to businesses to decide where they want their representation coming from. We're here for everybody, micro, small, medium, large, whatever industries exist. So we are going to be looking at those cross-cutting themes across industries in terms of workforce development, the importance of the education system reflecting the economic needs of the country, economic policy, training and development for business owners, and networking.
Understood. And you mentioned so eloquently about membership. Tell us about the membership for the BVI Chamber of Commerce.
Well, membership starts at $125 per year for one employee. So the membership fees are based on your employee count. So that is something, again, you update that annually, and it'll be reflected in your dues. And whatever benefits are part of your package, it doesn't matter, again, the size of your business, you have access to all of those services.
Understood. 2024, we have quite a bit of initiatives coming up.
Quite a lineup.
Yes, quite a lineup. But I want to speak about some advocacy matters.
Okay.
Tell us about what's in the pipeline to promote advocacy on the business front.
Well, let's just first start off with what advocacy is. Sometimes persons get confused. They think it's all about challenging government on every single thing, and it is more so about us looking at what's needed for a business-friendly environment, whether it's policies, legislations, more efficient and effective processes in the public service, what's happening with digitization. Those are the types of things that we are essentially constantly looking at. We also receive draft bills. So let's say, for example, the liquor license, the trade commission, the gaming commission are more recent ones I can think of, right? We were given an opportunity to essentially consult with our membership on their thoughts on these legislations before they actually went through to the House. We also have the opportunity to nominate persons to different boards, whether it's an advisory boards or the commissions, once they are already constituted, to represent business interests. So I want to encourage members as well that, this is part of the process, and it's not just for the directors, but that we do ask members to actually represent the chamber on these different boards. So those are the things where, they actually get to lend their voice to the voice of business, because we are here to essentially reflect them. But some of the concerns that we've been hearing, let's start off, probably the most recent was later last year, was when there were changes with the liquor licensing process that weren't communicated well. So, persons were expressing concern that it wasn't until they went in to do their renewals is when they found out about these changes. And, these things had costs associated with them. Of course. So it was something that was really, a challenging and frustration situation that was happening, and that, we want to continue to encourage, high levels of communication when there are changes like this, because we all want to see compliance. We all want to, follow the rules as they are laid out, but it's important to know what they are. Of course. Right? So we have those fluctuations now in the global prices, oil, food, shipping also is still a concern from the pandemic, which is now about 3-4 years behind of us. But persons may see that prices are still not necessarily going down, and that's part of the reason where business owners are still negotiating what's been happening on the global stage. And wherever, again, policies locally that can help us are things that we are going to be lobbying for. Things like tax incentives, maybe for startups, was something that we've been looking into and seeing, what can be part of possibly an economic development policy. Because we really, since the hurricanes, we have been in recovery, and it is now time, I think, 5 years going in, 5 years plus, that we need to think about growth. How are we going to grow our businesses? And it starts with being able to start up. That's the initial thing, and access to financing. So these are conversations that we are looking at having with the various stakeholders, whether it's government, the banks, within the private sector itself, to say, how can we strengthen our business community so that we have a stronger economy going forward.
Understood. And of course, on the matter of some major concerns under advocacy, of course, we have workforce development, ease of doing business and transactions, which continues to be of difficulty to business owners, most importantly. And like you mentioned, the fluctuation of a cost. When we look at...
And Ron, well, you touched on that point, right? One of the things for me, sometimes people don't see the connection, but when we talk about good governance, efficient and effective services is part of good governance. So the fact that, sometimes we have to struggle with what we think should be simple processes, whether it's applications, license renewals, whatever the case may be, that these are things that in the 21st century, we need to start to use technology, one, to make things more efficient, but we also need to look at what are those things that we've been doing for the last 40 years that aren't working. They're not effective.
Correct.
Because if you're getting feedback from the customer that you're serving that says, we could probably make this a lot easier, because it's taking time and money away from our business. Anytime our owners or the employees have to spend sitting in departments or constantly checking, for months and sometimes, on a response and the outlook. So things like that are very important. I'm not sure what's happening up at Port Authority with the cargo port and that warehouse that was destroyed. So that is something we're also going to be looking into this year, because I find it's unacceptable now, after all this time, that again, our goods that we're bringing in are still exposed to the elements, and look at the weather today. So it's something where these are, again, if you have damaged goods, who's liable for that? And that again equates to cost to businesses.
Agreed. Now, the Chamber has some annual events, of course, coming up for 2024. Let's touch on some of those annual events.
Okay. So first off, we'll be having our annual general meeting. Again, since the rebrand, we haven't, brought all the members together. So this is opportunity for us to start to re-engage, as well as is opportunity for persons to be nominated for the new board.
Okay.
So we're working on that. We had obviously to restructure our M&As because we had president of business, president of hospitality. So those are now going away.
Understood.
And we've resized the board and looked at how can we be more effective in how we operate as an institution. This year is going to be 55 years.
Beautiful.
So the Chamber has been around since 1969, which is like really a strong legacy. So it is something where we want to recognize that. And this year, as part of the Business Awards Gala, so we weren't able to do that last year, but we definitely have it on the calendar for this year, and it should be around in November during Global Entrepreneurship Week. The Trade Expo, we brought that up. So that is in May of this year. Registration is already open. So if persons are willing to or thinking about it from last year, because on the day of, we had people saying that I didn't know about this. I wanted, I would have loved to participate. So we're making sure we're getting out there very early so they can go to the website, bvichamber.org, and get all information about whether it's as an exhibitor or a sponsor.
Understood.
Because we also, we're driven by our member dues and fundraising activities. So we need support at the different levels, and all of that information now is out there.
Wonderful. So we have the annual general meeting, we have the by BVI Trade Expo in May, of course, the Business Awards and 55th Anniversary Gala, yes?
Regatta, that's going to be in April. Okay. So this is again a collaboration between ourselves and the Royal BVI Yacht Club that's been going on. Last year was the 50th run. We had missed some years after the hurricane and then with the pandemic, but this year, again, we're forging ahead and expect, for it to continue to grow from last year's turnout, and looking forward to more local engagement. So we're going to be planning some events to also, engage not just the sailing enthusiasts, but as well as just the general community to come out and see, because this is like world-class sailing run, on our shores. And I don't think, sometimes we see the big boats out in the channel for those few days of racing, but, what goes into them coming in, doing the races, being a part of this is it's really major. So we're going to be making sure we get that local engagement this year.
Well, I have to ask you, what do we have in the pipelines for the young upcoming blustering entrepreneurs?
Okay, so in November, I believe it was October, the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports, they asked us to assist them with a presentation as part of their Youth in Business Expo, and we were able to do that. And we visited their exposition, and we were very impressed. So we started talking amongst ourselves and said, what can we do to offer membership to our young entrepreneurs under the age of 18? Because obviously, once you're over 18, that you're able to be a regular member. We have a lot in terms of our resources now. In January, we launched what's called the Member Information Center. And in there, you're able to advertise your business, you're able to promote sales, do member-to-member deals, promote your events. What else do we have? News releases and those types of things. So all of this, again, is part of the membership benefits now. And this is something where, I can see that for, again, our student entrepreneurs, so to speak, they will be able to have access to this at a very affordable rate to be able to, again, start really getting their business up and running. Because the quality of the products or the services that we saw, trust me, Ron, we were very, very, very much blown away by what they're doing. And, to be able to also add business coaching and mentoring to that, you can imagine to see them in the next 5 years.
Of course.
So that is something that we're hoping to launch probably within the next 2 or 3 months. We're talking to some other stakeholders in terms of how we can, add to that and making sure that they are part of that. So, and the Youth Affairs and Sports Department, they're saying that they will continue to do that Expo. And let me not fail to mention, so we also have a rate for our young entrepreneurs, especially for the business, the Buy BVI Trade Expo. So they can also register at a discounted rate.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, lots in store, as I mentioned, with the BVI Chamber of Commerce, continuing to empower, educate, and equip. Chairman Smith Archer, for persons who want to get in contact with the Chamber, how can they do so?
Okay, so they can reach us at 345-3513. Our website, again, is www.bvichamber.org. Email info@bvichamber.org, or on Facebook, social media, and LinkedIn. So we're like all over now, Ron.
Beautiful. Well, in the 55th year, the BVI Chamber of Commerce is continuing to be that voice of reason and connection to the BVI business community. Chairman Smith Archer, congratulations to the Chamber on its 55th anniversary.
Thank you.
You have quite a lineup here, and we're looking forward to being a part of it. So we'll see you a little later.
Yes, definitely.
All right, viewers, that's all the time we have. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Goodbye.